Be very mindful of the words and the thoughts that you think every single day. Even the first thought that you even have in the morning, even the thought that you have the night before, all matters in regards to dictating how your time will be spent. Now, for 7 years, I've been in the coaching industry, and going through that to where you're in a position to be helping people and understanding their mental state from a fitness perspective, and also a sales perspective, and also a personal development perspective, and then also being someone myself who grew up in an environment that was very emotionally unstable and had to deal with his own negative thoughts and insecurities and fears, to the life now that I do have, where I am, from a fitness point of view, very happy with where I'm at, which I had really desired to create. From a mindset point of view, have a lot more perspective compared to how I was before. And from a coaching point of view, to be in a position to help other people also do the same, and not only physically be in a good place, but also mentally be able to prime themselves and set themselves up with a perspective that will help them become the person that they want to be and experience life the way that they want to experience it. Coming from that amount of experience and that journey, I've learned to recognize how important it is to monitor your thoughts. No matter the circumstance, no matter how much seemingly hard problems you come across in life, to where it's very easy to be victimized in those circumstances, and very easy to say that, well, it's harder for me because, no matter how hard that it can be for one person versus another, that it has never helped me. And I've never really seen it help anyone yet. I'm yet to see it, to where allowing themselves to let that dictate their thought patterns to be negative has actually helped them. I've only ever seen where the simplest of thoughts were turned positive, and how that could then spiral into the next thought, and then the next thought, and then the next thought, and how that would influence how the person felt and also how the person acted, and then the results that are brought in their own life. The power of positive thinking. And it's one thing to be aware of it. For example, I use myself, I'm very aware of it, of the power of positive thinking, but then sometimes it's actually just feels very hard to think positive, because maybe you are going through a hard time. And finding ways to convince your brain that you have things to be grateful for and to be positive and celebrate the small wins, finding whatever you can to grasp onto, to allow positivity to develop in your mindset, will help you take the next step. And then it will help you take the next step and the next step and the next step. And this is something I've always gone back to and do my best to always go back to whenever I go through a hard time, is finding ways to find the positivity, the positive perspective out of the circumstance. When we can confront our circumstance with that mindset, we can continue to stack momentum in that direction. Because we're either stacking momentum in a negative direction with negative thinking, we're just staying absolutely neutral and present, which is great, or stacking positive thoughts. And I'm sure that we all want to stack positive thoughts. So be very mindful of the thoughts that you have. Be very mindful of, no matter how hard the circumstance is, be very mindful of giving your power away outside of yourself, finding reasons to be negative. Because it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. It doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter what it is. Finding ways to be positive, finding ways to be grateful for the simple things. For example, getting my partner soup yesterday made her so happy, which made me happy, which then made the whole experience different. Just celebrating soup. It's just like those little things, and it's very easy to set big expectations for ourselves to be a certain way and say we can't be happy or grateful until then. But I did that for years and personally found that when I approached a circumstance with a negative state like that, or a state that deprived myself of feeling grateful, I brought that energy into every moment, which recreated more of that energy, which actually affected the results I was looking for in the first place, because as a byproduct, naturally, people will respond better and life is typically just better with a higher vibrational frequency. And we typically attract more of whatever frequency that we are vibrating, right? So postponing gratitude because of an expectation essentially deprives us of feeling that sense of high vibrational frequency, which means we're operating at a lower one than what we could be, and then we attract more of that. So it took me a long time to recognize that actually when I can celebrate the small wins, I can elevate my state and then bring more in my life around attracting that state into my life, which actually created better results just from an unbiased point of view. So I say this to say, easier said than done sometimes, but find the small things to be positive about. Find the small things to be very grateful about, even just waking up. The more this can be habituated, the more we can stack on in life, build positive momentum, get out of hard places. And I understand it can be hard, but we have that choice to continue to let it get worse or to find ways to make it better.